stealing.
You better hurry.
I will.
Here all early all this time and then. We lost one. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the August meeting of the Winnsboro Economic Development Corporation. I am calling the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m., and we will start with roll call to my right.
Sutherland here.
Duffy here.
Hollowell present.
Newsom here.
Mills present. Let the record stand that we do have a quorum present, and we will rise and start our meeting with a word of invocation. Jim?
Father, we thank you.
Oh, wait.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Jim's our feeling when others aren't.
Yeah.
Come on up. We have the official prayer.
I have a feeling that's a good thing to have. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Debbie.
Hi, I'm Debbie Lyons. I'm the pastor of the United Methodist Church. Thank you so much for inviting me here tonight. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we come before you today with excitement in our hearts, for we know that you are calling this community to do good things through their Economic Development Council. Today, oh God, we know that you want this community to prosper. You want there to be no harm here in this community, and yet you also tell us, God, that in order for us to feel your wisdom and know your guidance, we must see you. We must look to you. Today is a special night because there will be new officers installed onto this board. So we ask your blessings on Jarita, Kevin, and Cindy, who will be joining this team of committed people to make sure that this community doesn't just survive, but that this community thrives. Lord, we must work together in these tasks that you put before us, but we will listen to you, for it is your guidance and your wisdom that makes the promises of the future look blessed and the harvest plentiful. So thank you, O God, for this group of servants who will minister to your community and the people that you call to be part of this gang. It is in your name that we give thanks. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Congratulations.
Pledge allegiance to the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And pledge to honor the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. It is at this time of the program that we open the floor for public comments to hear for those who have previously registered to address the board. Just need to remind you, you have 3 minutes to present, and we are not able to take any action on items that are not on tonight's agenda. First, we will hear from Diane Burns. Please take the podium and state your name and address.
I brought cookies for the office to share with you guys.
Mackenzie's really wishing you hadn't done that quite so publicly. It's going to be hard for her to hide them now.
I was tempted to say I brought 4 because there's 5. But no, I have plenty in there for all of y'all. Diane Burns, 302 Richardson Street. I just came tonight to share a concern. The EDC Council means a lot to me. If it weren't for the help that you provided a few months ago, we would be in a much different situation at the bakery, and so I do so appreciate what you've done and what you do. My concern is sometimes I feel like I'm in the dark as to how the board selects new members and how that's done, just because last month at the council meeting when they were announced, there were very little questions, and of course we couldn't present anything from the audience. And because it's so important to me, it seems like the members of the council should have had experience either having stood on this side of this microphone and understand what it's like to own a business and to need money and to ask for money and have to go through the process. And on your side, just being able to see what mistakes have been made and where are the needs of the town. And, having come to meetings and been there and all those sorts of things. And I felt a little surprised that, this process takes place behind the scenes and then it just kind of happens and is kind of a go-to. And so I don't know how to change that, but I just wish there were more transparency and that discussion could be held. I know for me, even in the items discussed by you guys, I learned so much from hearing your questions and then to have a chance to think about it and ask more questions, and then to get an agenda a couple of days ahead of time, 2 or 3 days, and then have this 1 to 2 hours to have discussion. And I think there's some reticence on the part of the board members to ask some questions because, sometimes it's being vulnerable, and I just feel like sometimes members aren't as confident but are kind of going with the group, not having had time to really research and talk to whoever's coming before you to make decisions. And so, anyway, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Diane. We appreciate your comments. Brian Hoffman.
I'm gonna set my timer. Good evening, board. I'm Brian Hoffman. I'm a captain flying around the world to airports, great and small, and nobody knows the value of an airport more than I do. The EDC has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last couple of years helping small businesses and small projects flourish for a very short time. The airport will be something that will generate high-paying jobs for the duration of the life of the airport. You guys are talking about numbers that are $600,000, $1 million. And imagine my surprise as your airport board chairman that I wasn't even told that this was going to happen today. You guys are going to have KSA come talk about the plan that we asked for, recommended, you guys approved, the city council approved, and yet we weren't even told, please show up and hear both sides of this story. The airport can either flourish or it can become a cornfield. It takes money to build an airport. It takes money to build infrastructure. But when you do an airport that is the right size, you generate jobs. The one thing we need around here is good, high-paying jobs for everybody. All skill levels, all aptitudes, and an airport does that. If you guys decide that you're going to change the board's mind and try to help remove the church and an A&P, a gentleman who is certified to fix airplanes, if you're going to try and eminently domain his property, I think you're going to have a fight you don't want, because he's exactly what needs to be at an airport, somebody who fixes airplanes. Now, it would be great if he could have a bigger business. That would be lovely. But he can't right now because our airport is stifled. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have approaches, we don't have the lighting, we don't have the approach criteria, we don't have weather, we don't have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle that need to be there to make this airport really flourish. And I'm not talking about having airline traffic with big aircraft, I'm talking about business jets, light commercial, people that are hot-shotting things, people who are flying airplanes, maybe even learning how to fly. That's the kind of economic development that's long-term. And that's why I'm saying I'm a bit surprised you guys are doing this without bringing your airport board in on this. I hope to work with you guys in the future to make the right decisions and to go forward, expanding our capabilities, not limiting it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your thoughts and your concerns. Well, thank you. You gave us a lot of information in that 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We appreciate it so much. I think that's what's the beauty of living in a small town and in America in general, is that we can all voice our opinions and have differing opinions in a public open forum like this, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and that is what's the very best for Winnsboro. And so thank you both for stepping up and letting us know your thoughts so that the board can know what the community is thinking there. Moving on to items 5.1, the minutes, the financial, sales tax, and report from Andy Miller, our farmers market. Board, have you previously looked through the financials and minutes and have any questions on those?
I have a question on the sales tax revenue, and I think it's Austin for helping me get to some of this. This is just basic where I don't think the math adds up, or I don't understand it. So if we're looking at the sales tax to date as of June 30th, 2024, year-to-date actual posted on documents that were circulated to us is 324,078.14. The annual budget is 494. What I would like to know is how do we get 3 months, July, August, September, how do we get to the 494,000? Is the delta there of $105,408?
The financials that you have should have been as of July 31st, not as of June 30th.
Since June
So,
30th.
well.
It's even worse.
And it's the. Are you looking at the financials, or are you looking at
City of
sales tax?
Winnsboro financial statement as of June 30th. This is the 950-economic development.
Okay. That's the budget. That was the proposed budget, so that was actually the financials. When that went out and when the June 30th did, and when I went back and looked at that one, Carl, which is, as of July 31st, that number is 405,808.
You're saying year-to-date actual is 405?
Yes, you're not looking at the right.
Yeah, are you
looking at the right document?
Look at page 5 of the financials on your device.
The revenue and expense. So what you're looking at is when I did the proposed budget for you all, when I started doing the proposed budget, it was as of June 30th. But as I went back for the EDC, I realized that there was some that wasn't posted to that line item there. And so I caught that up in the whole budget process. So on your financials, right now, as of July
This
numbers
this
that
month
we're
being
posting yet.
August? This
Yes,
month being August
yes.
today?
But I can't do that, we're not finished with August, I can't do all the financials for August yet, but, it's close. So, I anticipate being at about 97% to 100, just depends on how this last month kind of falls.
Do we have any idea why July and August are seasonally better months for sales tax revenue? What's going on that drives that?
Typically, so sales tax comes in 2 months behind. And that's typically beginning of the summer, when we get to September, and that covers all, like July 4th, everybody, which is typically, for just about everybody, I think one of the biggest times, it's just a huge family time, people come together, there's lakes, just so much more traffic inside the city in those time periods. People coming to weekend things that are, farmers market, and they'll buy this and that. So it's just typical. That's what we've seen. We don't,
Is
we
that
can't say.
I guess the question is that something that we see seasonally that tends to recur from year to year, or if it's just an anomalies, or we're going to have a really August month?
Typically, if you look back year over year, and I can send you some year over year numbers, then July and August are two of the biggest months. You usually have February, a lot of times is a fairly big month because you've got Christmas in there, and so you have a lot in that time period as well. Sometimes in the months like January, February, that covers Thanksgiving, Christmas, you end up with larger months in January, February than you would anticipate because it's 2 months behind in reporting is when we get them. So last year, for example, in September, we received about $168,000 in sales tax. So divide that by 3, and that's going to be approximately what we're anticipating this next month. Crossing our fingers. Everything else has tracked per trend. So,
Are we taking into account, I thank you for that explanation, it's good. But one other question that I had kind of on our sales tax revenue is that it does appear overall that our sales tax revenue seems to be fairly flat. And we're living in a world with, 8 or 9% inflation on consumer goods. So have we thought that through? What that really means is in real value, the sales tax revenue is going down.
yeah, we've definitely thought about it. We've kept it pretty flat going forward. If you look at it, there has been some increase. We had one decrease that was due to some businesses at one time that were in the county that we were actually receiving the sales tax for. And so there was a little bit of an adjustment in that time period to get them back.
That was a misallocation.
Yes, businesses.
Okay.
So, and you and I talked a little bit about what the top 10
Yeah.
were this afternoon, which is some were a little surprising, others not so much. Ones that you would expect, like Berkshire's is number 1, even though so much of what they have is not taxable. Still, everybody's got to use Berkshire's. And, some of the others that were in that top 10, McDonald's rounding out number 10.
Yeah, it didn't say McDonald's, that was something.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Tanya, that's good.
Any other questions from anyone else on the board? Before we have a motion for consent, Andy, would you like to go ahead and give us your report?
Yes. Thank you guys so much for all that y'all do. I did want to let y'all know that we were voted number 3rd in Texas again. So it's very exciting.
Proud of y'all.
Thank you. And the market's been going really well, and it's growing, and we just continue week after week. Even with this heat that we've had this summer, we're still seeing just tons of amount of shoppers, people coming out, just enjoying the market. And then this Christmas, we are looking to plan a Christmas market. We're going to continue with our winter market as well, and so the farmers market just has a lot going on. So we appreciate your support very much.
How well received were the fans?
The fans have been very well received. I personally adore the one that is right next to my spot right there. It is very nice. Everybody's been very, very happy. The shoppers really enjoy it. We have noticed the people that are in the canopies out in the center, you know, they very much don't enjoy them as much as we do. And so, so that is something that we just, they've been really, really awesome to have out there. They keep everybody cool. This year in particular, I've had a lot of people just say that the market is just, it feels like a real farmer's market. It's comfortable. The atmosphere is enjoyable. People just really enjoy coming out there Saturday mornings and spending their time. And so we just really appreciate y'all continuing to support us. So thank you.
Thanks, you guys do a good job.
Thank you, thank you. Yes.
Any more questions for Andy? We'll entertain a motion for consent items 5.1.
I move that we approve the minutes, the consent items as presented.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, motion carries. Moving on to the items under 6, presentation, discussion, and/or action items, starting with number 6.1. For those of you who may not be familiar with the EDC structure, we have a rotating board system, and on odd years, seats numbers 1, 3, 4, and 6 are up for reappointment if eligible or not, and numbers 2, 5, and 7 on even years. So at this time, we are to consider the reappointment of place number 2, currently held by Andrea Newsom, with a new term to expire on 10 October of 2026, and place number 7, Carl Sutherland's term to expire October of 2026. We will need to make this recommendation to the council for their consideration at the September board meeting. So if we could have a motion on the floor regarding those reappointments.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, that motion carries. Congratulations and thank you both for your continued service. Now moving on to item 6.2. Try to get through this quickly, but have a few things to say, so bear with me. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve on the Winnsboro Economic Development Board for these past 7+ years, but the time has come for me to step aside. Although my current term does not officially end for a few more weeks, I presented my letter of resignation to Mackenzie in mid-July to be effective with this meeting, as I have other responsibilities that are preventing my attendance in September. Additionally, we had so many great applicants to fill our 2 vacant board seats, and so the time was just right. And so I will be ending my service in just a few minutes. Mackenzie, I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you the last couple of years. I thank you so much to you and the city staff. Y'all are absolutely phenomenal. Appreciate your support for me in my role and to this board as well, and just want to say how blessed we are that you and Jeremy decided to come home a couple of years ago. So thank you so much for all that you do. Mayor Newsom, many thanks to you and the city council for entrusting me with an appointment to serve on this board. It's been an honor and a privilege, and so please let the council know my gratitude for this opportunity. Fellow board members, thank you all for the privilege of having sat here with you to conduct business of the city. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with both you and all the others that have come before us. So thank you all for the work that you do on behalf of the city. New members, congratulations. I am so excited to welcome you aboard, and I know there's going to be good things in the future with you serving there, so thank you for that. And finally, to each of you who faithfully show up to all of our WDC meetings, whether it is in person or online, thank you all for your support on the work that the WDC does. It's important to see faces and interest when you're sitting up here, so thank you for the role that you have played there. And I am looking forward to joining you all on that side of the room very shortly as we continue to encourage and support the board and the work that they're doing here for the city. Just want to say thank you again for this opportunity to have served my community in this capacity, first as a board member and then as chairman. I will continue to hold you all in my prayers in the coming days as you make decisions and conduct the business of the WDC for the betterment and the economic vitality of our community and all those that live here in Winnsboro and who love our city and town just as much as we all do. You each bring your unique set of life experiences, skills, and talents to the table. So thank you for volunteering your time to serve. I know great things are in the future of the WDC under your leadership and your guidance and direction. My heart and passion is this community, service to this community, and its success. And so I am always just a phone call away. If you need to reach me for any reason, I'm here, and I'll be your biggest cheerleaders and supporters in the coming days. So best wishes to you all. May God bless the WDC and the community that we serve. And now, Madam Mayor, the floor is yours.
guess it's my turn to step in. Can y'all hear me? Okay, I'm just going to do it from this chair instead of moving around. And so, with that, we're going to move on to 6.4, which is to install the newly appointed members to assume the duties of office immediately. Holly, if you could come forward and do the swearing in.
We jumped ahead.
What?
We jumped ahead. The new members have all taken their oaths and then
Oh,
True,
that
true.
is not what my list is. I'm just telling y'all, I'm going by the itinerary that I was given.
They are ready to take their seats. They have been installed officially. They have taken their oaths. They have been sworn in. They're good to go.
Okay, so with that,
Take your seats.
okay, so I'm just going to go by the list I was provided. Jarita Brown. Yes, just take a seat, any of your seat. Next is Mr. Kevin Thompson. And certainly not last, Cindy Ewart. Ewart? Okay. We appreciate all three of y'all's willingness to volunteer, and just, we're excited to go forward. Okay, so next is 6.5, which is action to appoint the board officer positions. We have two available. One is the president, with Jan, of course, retiring, and then the second one is vice president. So right now I will open the floor for officer nominations.
Is it a motion or just a
Uh,
nomination?
You can make a nomination.
I nominate Kevin Thompson to be chair.
Okay. So we have a nomination for Mr. Thompson. Kevin. I don't feel like I know you well enough to say Kevin yet, but.
You can call me Kevin, believe me.
Okay, so do we have any others that? No? Well, then. Okay, so now we'll need a motion to accept Kevin, since he was the only nominee, as president of the WEDC.
I'll make a motion, we accept Kevin as president of the WEDC.
Okay? Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Do we have any additional discussion? Okay, if not, all in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? So let the record reflect. Mr. Kevin, you are now the WEDC president. Congratulations. So at this point, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want me to continue, or do you wish to take it over at this point?
Please continue. So
Okay.
I'm good at a lot of business things, but
Oh, you'll get it.
learning these meetings. Will be
Yeah,
fun to do.
that's perfectly fine. Okay, so then, is everybody with me? We're going to be on 6.6. Do y'all have all y'all's? I know.
Do we have to do vice president?
Oh, vice president, I'm so sorry. So I'm listening for nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Cindy Ewart as vice president.
Okay,
Okay, surprise.
okay, so we have one nomination for Cindy. Anyone else? Y'all are making this too easy. Okay, well, if not, then I will listen to or entertain a motion.
I second the motion.
We gotta have a first.
I'm sorry, first. Make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a first and a second to accept Cindy as our vice president. Any additional discussion at this time? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome aboard, Cindy. You're vice president. Okay, 6.6, update from retail coach. Do we have anyone here from? Come on up, or up there.
whichever is easier, it looks like totally fine. This is good. I think it'll make a really good job. Thank you. Speaking of this, well, good to be here again. It's been almost a year since we started back in September of last year. Lots happened. We've had a lot of progress, a lot of new conversations going on. We've got another conference coming up on Thursday, actually, in Austin. I'll get into that and the details of that a little bit later. But I think we're in a good position. Wanted to come back and talk to the existing board that was here and then some of the new members that are on board and the new chairman as well. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. I know that a couple of you have heard the explanation of kind of what we do, what our specialty is, and then for the new ones, I'd like to just explain a little bit more in depth again. But wanted to get into some of the updates as well later on in the presentation, kind of where we are and kind of what we're going to. So anyway, we started about 25 years ago. Our founder, Kelly Kofer, decided and realized after being in development that there was a huge disconnect between developers, site selectors, and the city staff. In that, he created the Retail Coach, and ever since we've recruited 4 communities across the nation. We do have a large Texas base. We do about 80% or so of our client base is within Texas. So we know Texas well. We know the east side of DFW well. We're in East Texas quite often. And so we're well aware of who those players are within this market. So we've gone in and identified the opportunities here in Winnsboro, and we've begun recruiting and have been recruiting for just about 10 months now. And we want to continue that relationship going forward as well. So a little bit of a step-by-step process. This is kind of what we would typically go on throughout the year. Initially, we went in and analyzed the market. So when we analyze the market, it's not just saying, we look up Winnsboro, we see how many people live within Winnsboro. We're actually going to go in and figure out what's the demand on retail sectors. Where are we looking towards for growth over the next 5 years? What is your retail trade area, and what are those factors driving retail growth? So we wanted to go ahead and create that, and we did. We've done so. We've also identified where those sites and options are within the market of Winnsboro, and we've either created some site profiles that we'll kind of touch on here in a second, or existing spaces that are listed publicly that we use as opportunities for businesses and developers when they're looking at Winnsboro. And then we created a list that we feel matches the city of Winnsboro as far as what to look forward to, what to reach out to that will match brands that are within the market already, and ones that would prosper going forward on a realistic basis, but also ones that maybe are a little bit out of reach of that just to start those conversations. That way we can look towards the future there as well. So we started off with about 35 of those brands, and we get into some of those discussions here a little bit later. But in the analysis as well, we also did a lot of cell phone studies as well as far as some of the existing locations within Winnsboro. The obvious one that I think speaks very well of Winnsboro is Brochures. As far as a brand, it does match up on the upper half of the brand. It trends well, I think, for the market and for what it supports. Just a little snapshot of what we're looking at from this year. We're looking at just under 15,000 on average per month, and then the peak was in March at a little under 17,500 visitors. So this is cell phone data, and just for the new ones, this is time, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. And there are a lot of retailers and developers that are using this information as a way to use it for site selection and use it for visitation numbers rather than just traffic counts. Statistically and historically, looking at site selectors, they do a lot of how many cars are passing that site per day. How many people live within that community, et cetera. So now, getting a little further with some of the technology there, and just another little piece here that we can look at. We can look at zip codes. By the way, I know Mackenzie, we've talked about, there's been an issue with some zip code data in the past, and we're back to where we have in the past, not specifically for Winnsboro as of yet, just because it's not this easy public knowledge necessarily. There are some unique concepts and restaurant examples.
Because
in
maybe
these
we
texts.
could get something new here, not just another Sonic or anything.
Right. I totally agree with you, and as those opportunities kind of float themselves up, then we definitely want to capitalize on it. Some of the, for example, the restaurants, maybe like the Juicy's for East Texas, Winnsboro's probably not the market for them, just because it's not quite what they
Not big enough, right.
Just,
But
just
boutique things, that might add to something we don't have. But you would have to, that would be your job to go look for those, right?
Sure, and if that comes up, we would absolutely want to assist. It just doesn't come to us as often, unless it's brought to our attention, just because it's not something that's, easy as
I know,
access.
I'm asking if you go look for those.
Yeah.
Not somebody brought it to your attention, but you actually go look for those.
Right, so what we have in the past, not for Windsor, specifically to answer your question. We've been in other communities nearby.
Will you if we renew your contract?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what we've done in the past, in examples of that, is we've gone into surrounding communities that are of like size, and then gone to those businesses and said, hey, we know you've got one location, you're doing extremely well as a boutique clothing retailer. We invite you to come to the downtown Winnsboro. We have that past, and that we'd be absolutely willing to consider that. But, answer your question.
What are we waiting on, let's do it.
Okay. Perfect. Now, I'll get into kind of what we've done so far. So, as far as recruitment goes, this is a process, right? So, retail recruitment is not an event. It does take time. These are obviously large decisions to be made for these retailers and developers to come in and develop a whole new side option here out in the market. So, in these conversations that we have, we're doing it in conferences, we're having these conversations in person, via cell phone, text, LinkedIn, all kinds of things, depending on how the person typically communicates. So we've learned how these folks are used to communicating. Some of them are old school, they run a phone call, so we understand. Some of them are new in age and they're used to texting, so we do it all. So just to kind of give you background as to how we have those conversations. I'm going to go over high level, if that's okay with everybody, just some of the more active conversations that we're having, and then I'll kind of get into some of the reasons that we've received that we don't want to come to Winnsboro and how those conversations are going to stop. So just for example, AutoZone's a player. It's not enough for them to come and build a site. They would come in and look at an existing building to lease out. Not anything in the market that they've seen or I've seen or that we've seen as a team to present to them as an option that would work for them, but we want to continue to keep that in our mind. Shipman's Donuts is continuously active with DFW at this point and have been as of the last couple of months. Originally, they told us that they were kind of waiting on the market again, but they've had 2 new franchisees come in and want to expand the brand within the Fort Worth area. I did go ahead and present Winnsboro as an option. It's just not going to be something that we look at next year. Ace Hardware is one of the, just for example, Ace Hardware is continuously showing out for the last couple of months compared to Home Depot and Lowe's. They're expanding quite a bit. Definitely want to continue to stay on them. They've got a group that would come out and own this franchise here, but they would have to lease it out. So just another example of somebody's not able to build a new site, but they would come in and lease the space. And we presented some options to them, just like, yeah. We've did speak just briefly, so on Thursday, there are going to be about 3 dozen or so retailers that are going to have their site selectors, decision makers for Texas and this region. And it's kind of like a speed dating type conference, if you will. That's the best way I can describe it. There's quite a few tables that are around. It's a really laid back conference compared to some of the other ones that are around the country. But it's also really good for a lot of reasons because it's a more candid conversation. It's easier for us to get some feedback at that point and make some actionable items as far as follow-up. The two big ones are ICSC Rip River and then ICSC Vegas, which we've done in this past year, and represented Winnsboro at all of those conferences that were focused on this region, especially Texas. And that's just another way that those conversations and then really what we're at is, we're coming up on the 12 months. We want to continue to nurture these conversations because it is a process and it does take some time. We do recognize that it's hard to not see anything coming out of the ground that maybe we've recruited, if you will. But deals these days are taking quite a bit longer. And even in the larger markets, they're taking between 12 to 24 months just to kind of get through permitting, et cetera, after they do select the site. So knowing that, we do and would love to continue to work here. We do think that there's opportunity on some of these leads that we do have. It's just, again, continuing to keep that partnership and go forward from here. We do want to update the data for 2024. We want to look at some new cell phone studies now that we've got a new provider as well. Kind of revamp some of those and maybe revisit some of those conversations that we never got to have. Yeah, and I don't know, I would imagine that maybe, I don't know if you've seen what that structure was of our agreement. I don't know what that might be, but I'm happy to answer any questions on that too. And I enjoy being here. I mean, this is our 4th time in Winnsboro. I didn't get to go to Sinclair Market the last couple of times, loved being there. Always see it as soon as I come into Winnsboro. I think it's just an issue of people not knowing, right, until they get here. So I think that's going to be one of our focuses is encouraging those site visits, maybe offering up an opportunity and a reason to come, putting them up in that direct or something like that. Maybe it's something that's worth the time or something. Trying to get a little bit more strategic on some of those approaches. Any further questions on that or our process or what we do?
I think we're good. All right, thank you. So, Mackenzie, was this strictly an update? There's no action needed?
We'll talk about that, whether or not to renew as part of budget.
Okay. So then let's move on to 6.7, KSA Aviation Planner Michael Mitchell to make presentation regarding cost analysis requests for airport layout plan, alternate 3, B-1.
You're gonna call him, if he's able to be here.
Okay.
Okay, Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys hear me okay?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me tonight. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Mackenzie wanted me to give a brief update on the happenings at the airport, our conversations with tech stocks. So first, I guess I can kind of walk through some of the funding opportunities at the airport. So airports are funded through the Airport Improvement Program based on their classification within the FAA's system of airports. And what that means for Winnsboro is you all get $150,000 every year from the FAA through TxDOT that you can use for projects and capital improvements at the airport. Unfortunately, one of the requirements of this funding is that you have 10 based aircraft. I think, Mackenzie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you all are down to 7, which has resulted in the FAA unclassifying Winnsboro as of the end of fiscal year 24. So that means until the next classification, which happens every 2 years, Winnsboro will not receive that $150,000 a year from the FAA. Now, you do have some money banked. That money can be banked over years and saved up to do capital projects. And we're currently working with TxDOT to get your automated weather observation system installed. That's a system that pilots tune up when they are arriving or departing from your airport to get the current weather conditions at the field. So we are working with them on that. We're working on a couple other maintenance items at the airport with David, including some grading of the some safety areas on the west side of the taxiway to improve the safety at the airports. And then we're just having conversations back and forth with TxDOT on how we want to develop the airport in the future when funding is available. That funding, as some of you may know, is a 90-10 split, meaning the federal government or TxDOT pays 90% of the grant and the local sponsor pays a 10% match. So pretty good grants for development, but you have to be classified in order to qualify for those grants. But the AWAS, the automated weather system, will be a 90-10 grant. So one of the conversations that we've had with TxDOT is, which side of the airport do we want to develop next, east versus west, in looking at our master plan that was completed, I guess it was early last year. And TxDOT has expressed some concern with developing on the east side of the field due to its lack of infrastructure. Your taxiway is currently on the west side. Your terminal, your hangars are on the west side. So they have indicated to us that their support would be for continuing to develop the west side. That doesn't mean you can't develop the east side. It would just mean that those funds would likely need to come locally if you did want to develop the west side. We haven't done any cost estimating over there yet, but I would expect it would be substantial to develop on the east side, but definitely doable if the local funds were available. Mackenzie, is there anything you want to add? And I'd be happy to take any questions. I know it's a lot of information.
Does anybody have any questions for Michael?
Okay, the east side is where the church is that correct? No, the other way around.
That would be the west side.
Okay.
The west side is the church?
Correct.
The reclassification is every 24 months, is that what you said?
Every 2 years is when airports are able to request to be reclassified.
And they have to have at least 10 aircraft on the...
Yes, 10 based aircraft is the requirement.
And the
And
recommended,
I've seen there is kind of a gray area at 9. If you get to 9, typically we can have pretty good success getting you reclassified, but 10 is kind of the hard cutoff.
so the recommended plan that was approved is on the east side?
Yes, that is on the east side.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else that way? Okay.
No other questions? Anybody up here have any other questions? No? So, no additional questions for Michael before he goes? Mackenzie, do you have anything?
So just in summary, the reason I asked Michael to come back and provide additional information to you all is at the last meeting, you asked me to give a cost analysis on the west side of the airport. And when I asked Michael to do that, he said, I can do that for you. It's gonna cost, Michael, correct me
My
action
question
item.
is do we need a motion to say whether she gets that analysis or not, or do I just?
The 10,000?
Well, I think that, isn't that in the budget? In the,
No, we can talk about it as part of budget discussions. So maybe for now, we don't take action, it's not specifically listed that way, always that way. And then as we move through budget discussions, we can talk further about, do we want to go ahead and do that out of current fiscal year contingency funds, or do we want to budget for that next fiscal year? Does that work for everybody?
okay.
Michael?
I've got
Oh, wait, he's got a question.
We have one more, hold on, we have another question.
So is there any opportunity, I'm not gonna call it a loophole, but is there any way to get around the 10 aircraft-based requirement?
Unfortunately, no. The FAA has not increased their available AIP funds. This last reauthorization that we had in May, it was the first time they had really increased it in about 20 years. So they're always looking for reasons to unclassify small airports, and it's hard to get them reclassified if you're not at those hard numbers. If you're at those hard numbers, they really can't say no, but you have to be at those numbers.
So as a follow-up to that, is there any way to jump the 24-month if you had 10 aircraft-based at Winnsboro?
I don't want to say yes because historically, they only reclassify every 2 years. However, if we had, if we were able to show the willingness of EDC or local development to help fund projects at the airport, and that was contingent on that, I think that might get them back to the table for a discussion.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got. Anybody else?
Okay, and we're gonna address this further down here. So, that was not an action item, so we can't take action. So we're going to 6.8, consideration and/or action on fiscal end purchases. 6.8 and 6.9, they can be discussed together, but they'll be needed to take action separately. I guess here's the question. We can take it and do it as like a little kind of mini workshop, or we can discuss it up here. What would be best for you guys? Or Mackenzie, do you have a plan here of action?
Yeah, typically we would do a budget workshop around here, but since we have this many people in the audience, it'd probably be best to just stay where we're at.
Okay.
But I do agree with discussing 6.8 and 6.9 together so that, some portions of 6.8, you guys may want to defer to 6.9 and so discussing them together just makes sense. And so to that point, I will just say, I sent you guys out my goal in fiscal year end purchases. We do this on the city side also, usually have the conversations with Mayor Pro Tem, but right now the EDC is looking at having $177,000 of contingency funds in this fiscal year operating budget. If we take no action tonight, that's fine, they will roll over to a fund balance. We will just have to do a budget amendment if it goes beyond the end of the fiscal year to access those funds. Or we can actually budget for those fund balance to be used as part of fiscal year 25 budget. Correct? Correct. We want to do that. So there's a couple of ways that we can do it tonight. Those are some things that Jody and I put our heads together, and also with JC, and just identified some things. For a long time, nothing's been done at the EDC. So a lot of the things that we identified as needs that we wanted you all to consider are one-time purchases of things that just haven't been done that would be beneficial to the operations of the EDC and to the Main Street Board. The other part of that is to also ask you guys and get your input. That's a lot of money. What would you all like to see, if anything, those fiscal year end funds be spent on? Jody, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I have a question. Can we take action individually on your recommendations, or we're gonna have to at it in total. Like, so there may be item, pardon?
So Holly's preference would be that you make one motion to identify the things that you would like to authorize.
Oh, we can identify certain things, yes, we like, and others we don't.
Yes, that's part of the,
We're not approving the whole thing.
yes, that's part of the discussion. Mhm.
It'll be a long motion.
Do you have that list?
I do, on my, I'm on my phone now.
I can pull it up on there. Let me see.
I got it on my phone, until my phone dies.
Okay.
So does everybody have the list?
Pardon?
Does everybody have a copy of the list or on your,
I have it on my phone.
on your phones? Okay? That would be hard for me to do. I'm just saying it'd be hard for me to do. Could you make copies of this sheet?
Yes.
The spreadsheet.
The one that was sent today, I think.
So Mackenzie, are you gonna walk through each item?
Sure, I can. I'm just gonna go quickly, and if you guys have additional questions, let's do it that way, because it is kind of, a long list of items, so. Sure, maybe, I don't know if it's gonna like her computer or not, it's ageist. If the computer's very old, it doesn't like it, so I will try.
Mackenzie, okay. So you can have your machine back if you need it.
We'll see if it'll work.
It's on the 15-minute.
Yeah, I've got- I've
That's
got
all we
this.
got, yeah. She didn't send it on here. Yeah, it's not,
You should have it.
it's not attached to the agenda.
Do you have it in your email?
Yeah.
You should be able to pull up your email.
I have it on my email.
What?
Not ready to go.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes if the computer's older, it just won't go. Let me run through this list really quick. So one of the things that we're asking, I hate that James not here, because this is a shared cost, and that's something James always
Yeah.
wanted to ask, is the city gonna contribute? So a lot of these things, and I'll identify as we go through, the city will share cost this.
the business owners can then link into that profile, update their business hours, have access to the data real time, also that the business directory gives us, in addition to leads out the back end. And the other side of that CRMS system, with the sales tax base, our HDL and probably Tony will use this, I think if I'm correct, that it's only capturing businesses that pay over $5,000 a year in sales tax revenue. For the smaller businesses, we're not really seeing the detail as we would in this directory. I don't know that number, but there is a number attached to that.
The real benefit to the HCO companies is they go after those people who aren't paying their sales tax and they collect for us, and that's a huge benefit for them. So the last part of the blue dot is the business database. That's gonna tell you not only your business information, but how many employees are they operating, what should they be paying in sales tax, what are their annual numbers, and just any sort of information like that you can think about your local businesses. Again, that would help us be able to recruit a little bit better, be great information and maybe for retail page to have.
So you said these are recurring, does that mean you're signing a contract for a specified period of time?
It's a month to month on the 5x1 side.
So the first year out, if you did all three, would be 8,260, but you can do them all apart, you don't have to do them all. The next one would be social media setup. This is something that the city's gonna do regardless on our end, just because right now, all of our social media, not some of them take, all of our social media platforms are attached to prior employees' personal Facebooks, and we can't get them. And they have thousands and thousands of followers
do have something that I think we should consider as well. Um, please excuse my voice, it's just bad. The 101 building, which of course is the old Main Street building, grand old building. It's been in Winnsboro for as long as I can remember, which has been quite some time. My suggestion was pay to have it repainted and have it painted back to its original color. If you look around the windows and stuff like that, there's a lot of the boards rotting, and to replace those boards, you hate to see that building go into total disrepair, and the longer it sits there with nothing done, the worse it's going to get. That's a true monument to Winnsboro, that building, the way it's been protected all through these years and stuff. I personally would like it to go back to its original color, but that could be up for discussion. Just because the building is now being used, why not give it a little tender care? Of course, we can't put it back to its total antique. That's just so very expensive to do that. But have somebody go in there and paint it, replace all the wood that's rotted, because if you look, there is rotted wood and stuff. And just, give it its charm back. Let it be when people walk in that, hey, look at that big building right there. It's probably been here a long time. And they're going in for the chamber as well. So, I mean, just, dress it up a little. Give it a little bit of grace like it used to have a long time ago. And, we're not asking for $50 million or $50,000 to fix it. See what it costs to have it painted. Replace the boards that are rotted. Just general, to me, upkeep on the building that it's needed for quite some time. I can't even remember when that building was painted the last time. I have no idea. Even like the awnings, they've been destroyed. I mean, just, give it a little charm back. But that's just one of the things I would like to see added to this list.
We need an estimate though, right?
Well, yes, we would have to get an estimate.
It's an official historic building, isn't it?
It's never, I don't think it has the actual title.
No, we're working on it, but
Yeah.
we have to have something to prove its age, and that's where we get stuck. And there was a fire at the county, and those records no longer exist. So that's where we're having a hard time, is proving the age. So if anyone has anything that says our building was built in 1924, that's what we're looking for, because that's really the last piece. Brenda Buck had done a lot of the footwork, and that's kind of where things came to a halt, is proving the age of the building.
But still, we don't want it to,
They don't care about that picture. Yeah.
but I just think to even have the building, it needs to be repaired. The rotted wood needs to be repaired. I couldn't tell you, I don't think the lights in the front work. Put the lights back in. Just general, paint and fix the wood. That's just something that I would like to see done, because I hate to see the building in disrepair.
We do have a newspaper article that gentleman was found for me that did have a date in the newspaper, and so now that we have the Main Street director, we'll try to pass that off. It's not done yet.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
I will say, if we do that, and we get that designation, it will be very expensive.
It
We're not
very
gonna afford to do
expensive.
anything to it.
Right.
Yes.
Right, do it
Well-
before then, yeah.
Yeah, because if you look around the windows, you can see where it's rotting, the wood part of it is, and I just think it needs to be fixed. It's been here for a long time, and I like history, and so I don't think we should let it go just totally into disrepair. Just an idea on my part. So is there anything on here, I guess, that I'm just taking the lead because that we think we don't want to, or we have questions about being on there?
The only one I had a comment on is I think the rodeo should help do the repairs. If we spruce it up, then they should contribute, be part of it. The rodeo does make a lot of money when they hold their events. They make quite good money.
Okay. So we ask be like a 50-50 or, okay. Okay.
The, board member training,
Yes.
would this be someone that is also versed in the, like, legalities of
You bet.
what we look at?
Yes, sir. And it would be at y'all's discretion, whatever day and time. If you needed to be on a Saturday, then we could do that. If you wanted a half day, whole day, we would just work through those details. When the time came.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I've got one more.
Mm-hmm.
The, on Blue Dot,
That was what mine was on, but go ahead.
the 8260, is that an annual all-encompassing price?
It is.
Because we were talking about so much of this and that.
The internal business directory is actually an annual fee. I think if I remember correctly, it's like $329 for the year. But the external facing, because it's a live database that's constantly being populated and updated, is the monthly fee, as well as the CRMS system is also. And that does also include, both of those do include the geofencing, we covered also.
Okay.
And combined with our self-data tracking, it will give us a really great tool for our community to be able to move forward, and also for our businesses to set their hours, recognize when they need to staff up as opposed to staff down, so they can be more efficient with their operations also.
But you did say it's month to month, it's not a contract.
Correct.
So if we found out it's not being used or it's not beneficial, we could just cancel.
One thing we don't talk a lot about are NAICS codes, and NAICS code is something that Blue Dot will bring to the table too. Again, HDL brings those to the table, but it's only for those businesses that pay sales tax, even, starting at a certain dollar amount. Your NAICS codes are your industry codes, so if we can run a report and buy a NAICS code and see what are we missing here, what industry don't we have, what are people driving out of our account, what NAICS codes are they leaving our account to go to, that's just another level of information that will help us in our recruiting efforts.
Any additional discussion first? Anybody? Now's the time. I would like, if y'all agree, to get a estimate on the 101 building, and if so, add it at a later time. And we can, of course, get more than one estimate, just from reputable papers. Okay, well, if there is no other discussion, I will welcome a motion.
I would move that we approve the list with the change to the rodeo, and we add getting an estimate on repairs for 101.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a first and a second for approval. Is there any other discussion? No? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. So now we go to action to accept the FY 2025 proposed budget. Has everybody had a chance to look over this budget? So is there any questions, concerns, anything that we can help explain or they can help explain?
And just so the public's aware, you may have to repeat this in the microphone, but the board members were invited to come and have one-on-one time with Tanya and go through individually. You guys, it's not that you just don't have questions, you did a lot of the front-loading homework on the other end of this. So if anybody has questions about budget, please feel free to ask. But I just wanted everybody to know you guys did actually come and look at it and ask questions.
And that's always good. Any additional questions? Anyone? Sorry, I just cut off my thing. If there's no additional questions about the budget, I'll welcome a motion. I can get mine back on, but I'll wing it.
I'll make the motion to approve the, budget for 2024, I guess?
25. Okay, I have a first. Oh. Okay, Marshall, second. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so that includes everything that we had on our agenda today. So the next Winnsboro Economic Corporation meeting will be on the 4th Tuesday of the month. All requests to be placed on that agenda must be completed and turned into City Hall before noon on Monday, 8 days prior. If there's no further business, this meeting is now adjourned at 7:06 p.m. Thank y'all for coming.